Welcome to stage 4 of Ghost Babel. We're going to be making our way out of the tower into the outside world to fight the first boss of the game, Slasher Hawk. The start is pretty simple. We're just going to be following Chris throughout the tower. Don't worry about getting alerts here. This route, if you haven't been able to notice already, we're not really caring about alerts. Now this room, if you're playing the individual level, you want to go the top route, but if you're going full game, you want to go pick up this pack of chaff grenades. It's worth it. It's very, very worth it. We'll be using all those chaff throughout the run. We're going to run up to this guy, punch him, take him out, and then make our way around the spiral. Go up, don't go right here. And right here, if you're a little bit too fast, this guard could spot you. Just don't go super fast and you're fine. And then get that elevator come towards you. We're gonna go down. Pause to stop the in-game timer. That was a little early. There we go. Wait for the door to open. We're just retracing our steps. Nothing really too crazy going on here. But this stage more than makes up for it because the second half is where the challenge really begins. Down left into this door. Down left to follow Chris. And we're almost out. And then up left to follow Chris outside. And that's the tower segment. Pretty self-explanatory, nothing too weird. And this is where Chris and Snake split up. She's going to the power plant. We're going to go to the barracks. So, we have an option here. If you're not super confident about how to deal with the dogs, you can pick up this ration. Of course, don't miss it like I did. And then just run up like that. If you're confident in your movement with the dogs, just skip it. You don't really need it. Alright, this part is very important. So, when this cutscene starts, you need to pay attention to which button this guard is pressing. He's pressing the third switch for this puzzle. This is the door puzzle. The button he presses to empty out all the doors is what I call the solution button, because it's the final button you need to press. There are 4 different potential patterns for this puzzle. We got the third pattern, where the solution button is the third button. So let's take a look here. So, depending on where the guard is, it's going to change, and which button is the solution button. You're going to have 4 different patterns based on that. There are only 4 patterns for this puzzle. So I have a text document that outlines what order to do the buttons in, depending on what pattern you get. So this pattern, we got the third pattern, and in order to do this one, we're going to press the 4th switch, then the 3rd switch, then the 2nd switch 3 times, then the 3rd switch. So this is what I call the 1-3-5 door. It removes doors in 1-3-5 position or adds them if there's an empty space there. This is the solution button, which will release the doors that are positioned here and here. And then this shifts the doors, like so. And then the last switch is a reset button. You never want to press the reset button. So we press that, this 3 times, and then the third switch. I'm not certain which pattern is actually the fastest, but in an all level full game route, this is not a huge component of the RNG of the run, so I wouldn't be too concerned about it. The game's not so optimized that you have to worry about something like this. So the full door puzzle solutions will be posted along with this video for anyone to read through. I do recommend just having a text file out with it and just looking over it, paying attention to which button the guard presses, and you'll know what buttons to press from that. And one last thing to note, if the solution button is the 3rd or 4th button, you would go diagonally down like this, or if it's the 1st or 2nd button, you'd go like this. So that's just a minor routing thing to get to the buttons quickly. Okay, so we're going to start talking about the dogs. These dogs are absolutely brutal. In the next few screens, we're going to be dealing with these dogs. Thankfully, they're only in this stage. As you can see, if we aggro this bird, the dogs start freaking out, which is just trying to teach you about the next screen. And this next screen actually has a few different ways of approaching it. You can either take it safe, or we'd go diagonal around this point in the grass and skip this. You want to like get close to the bird in the sense that we're cutting our corner as sharp as we can, but not so sharp that we aggro the bird. And then we just run up into the next screen. However, there is another way, which is a little bit more risky. We'll just aggro the bird because we don't care. Dip a little bit to try to make this guard miss us, but it can be a little bit awkward, because if you get knocked down, you're pretty much losing time, and then just run into the next screen, which clears the alert anyways. So the choice is yours. Now for this screen, it's very important that you punch this dog once, otherwise you're going to get hit. Very, very likely you will be hit, so don't do that. Punch the dog, and you shouldn't get hit by it. Very important you go up along this bush, the first bush. Don't go down the middle path, because you'll aggro the dog like that, and you're in for a world of pain. Let me just demonstrate, because they attack very quickly. They don't really have much recovery on their attack, and just a few hits and I'm dead. So it's pretty brutal. As I was saying before, you do not want to mess with these dogs. They will make you very sad. So run like that, punch this dog. He shouldn't bother you. And then on this screen, we also have an option for individual level runs if you want to be really risky. Just run by this guy. You could even run by this guy. Sometimes they'll smack you. Additionally, you could, if you have the 5.7, shoot them out like that. 2 shots will clear them on normal. But if you don't have the 5.7, that strategy isn't open to you. If you don't want the alert here, just delay a little bit, triple punch that guy, and then run behind this guy's back. If you brush up on him, it's not a big deal, because these dogs aren't going to hit you as long as you go to the proper way, which is right. Okay? Now, you want to hold upright. The screen's a bit weird. We go all the way to the right, because we want to pick up these grenades for the next boss. And then this dog is going to spot us. So if you're in the individual level run, you could turn around, shoot him twice, take him out. If you don't have F5-7, it's best just to run like this, and hopefully, you'll be able to round this corner before he attacks. Sometimes he gets caught on the bush like he just did. The AI isn't terribly smart in this game, but he can act all kinds of ways. You might get hit here, you might not. But be very careful with his attack because, as you can see, it lasts for as long as he's jumping. And if you walk into the hitbox, you'll get hit. So just be aware of that. And we're going to punch this button to open the door on the other side. You could do it from the other side, but that'd be really slow. Okay, so returning is a little bit weird. We don't want to go too late. We'll aggro that dog. We don't want to go too early, or we'll aggro that dog. So there's a sweet spot, which is about right here. And we'll be able to avoid aggroing either dog. And then walk along this mud. You don't have to go that far to the left if you don't want. You could just like walk on the outside. Just make sure you don't walk literally into the mud and slow yourself down. And then diagonally to this side. And if you don't buffer here, this dog will aggro, so don't do that. Instead, do a single punch buffer, and you'll be able to run past that dog. And stick to the top path, and go left here. Right here, we're just going to run up, and we're going to hold up left on this bush to set up our movement for the next screen, because we have to buffer a little bit. And then immediately hold upright once you get to the next screen. And then run up to this corner. So we want to aggro these dogs because what's going to happen, they're going to come over here and then they're just going to kind of get stuck in that corner. And then we just sneak out, pick up this ration, and make our way out. So yeah, there's a lot of movement there. It's very important that you don't mess it up because you could easily die. We'll go over it again when we do a demo run at the end. Pick up everything. If you picked up an extra ration, you should use it now and then pick up the ration over there. Otherwise, you'll not be able to pick it up because you can only hold 2 rations at this point. And swap to your rations and grenades, and it's time to fight the first boss of the game, Slasher Hawk. He throws boomerangs, like so. But he doesn't call it a boomerang, he calls it a Wilgie, a Waluigi, I'm not sure. So, Slasher Hawk, he has 2 different boomerang attacks. That's the zigzag one, the green one, he throws in a zigzag. And the red one, he throws linearly, in a straight line. And it can be diagonal, it could be vertical. It's different angles. You could, be very safe and run to the back, kind of like curve in and out. It might be a pretty good strat for very hard since you only can take like 3 hits. 3 hits and you're dead on very hard, but we can use rations, so we can just play it really risky and stay at the top. So, in this first phase, his hawk isn't involved in the fight, but in the second phase, you'll have to deal with the hawk and the boomerangs. At the start of the fight, run up immediately, throw the grenade. Now, once you do damage to him, his iframes are such that once 2.5 seconds have passed, he's vulnerable to damage again. It takes about half a second for the grenade to land, so you want to roughly count about 2 seconds and then throw as you follow him along. And he can either stand still or run left and right along this path, okay? So he'll stand still, throw a boomerang. Sometimes he'll continue to stand still, or he'll start moving left and right and throw boomerangs that way. So count about 2 seconds, or if you want to look at him flashing, it's about 7 flashes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that's about as close as you can cut it. You know, if you want to play it really safe, just wait until, you know, he stops flashing. But that's about as optimal as you can get with it. And there's a little trick you can do as well before the second phase starts. If you can throw a grenade before the cutscene plays of his bird jumping up, his iframes won't activate for phase 2, and then we can immediately throw another grenade. It wasn't quite on point, but that's a way to optimize it. Unfortunately, it depends on what boomerang attack he's doing and your timing in the fight and so on and so forth. So, things to remember. Try to follow him along. Count out his invincibility frames. Try not to waste grenades. If you waste too many grenades, grenades will spawn over here. I think maybe over here as well if you go to 0. So be aware of that if you run out of grenades. We'll go over it again. Throw a grenade. Count out the iframes. I'm not actually usually when I run this, I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quietly to myself. You could also just, you know, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, however you want to do it. So that grenade is still in the air. It will still activate once it lands. You don't always get that extra damage trick. It's not a big deal. And keep in mind, you can throw grenades diagonally. And they have a pretty good explosive radius, so, you know, don't be too nervous about throwing it as a lead or slightly behind him. It should land. It's a pretty fun fight. It just requires a little bit of finesse with the timing of your grenades, but you're going to see throughout this game that we're going to be using grenades a lot on bosses, so you'll probably get used to it as you play the game more. So let's do a demo run of stage 4. This part, like I was saying earlier, is very straightforward. You're just retracing your steps to get out of the watchtower, following Chris. Nothing too strange going on. Again, if you're doing an individual level run, don't bother picking up the chaff. It's not worth it. You don't need chaff for this stage. You only need it for the full game run. We're going to follow Chris. Now, while I'm doing this demo run, there's one last thing I want to mention. If you have a 5.7 or the Galil, which we'll get later, you can actually shoot guards and kill them out of earshot, even if you have an unsuppressed weapon. But if you're too close, that'll happen. The only reason why we don't want to kill this guard like this, even though it is faster, if we have a 5.7, is because this screen is bottlenecked based on that guard that we have to wait to pass before we go to the door. So that's why I'm not doing that. Of course, you should do 3 punches, not 2. I kind of messed with my mojo since I gave a little bit of a tutorial there. But that's an important detail to know. You can use that potentially on other stages. It's just that you can't use it here because we need to wait for this guard to pass us. Make sure you're fully on the panel before you try to punch. You can cut it too close. Pause once you hear the landing noise. Go around. I was considering just going straight to the outside section, but it's good to review what we had to do at the start. Once you run the stage a little bit, this part becomes very straightforward. Just follow Chris out. Okay. We're gonna go up like this. See where this guard is. He's on the third switch. This was already set up already, so he's gonna do third switch again. So we're gonna do 4, 3, 2, 2, 2, then 3. There we go. I'm gonna do the risky approach. Where I go off on alert here. Skip that guard from smacking me. Punch this dog once. Run by. Gonna delay here. And then I'm gonna run on this guy. Fortunately, he smacked me. Even so, these dogs will not hit me. Upright. Get to this wall. So we can pick up these grenades. This dog's gonna notice us. Go upright. Wait for his animation to stop. Punch the button. And then we're going to circle our way around to the other side. Go down right on the sweet spot. Run along the mud. Go down left. This is really the hardest part of the stage. Dealing with the dogs is fairly precise. I did that one punch buffer. Just run straight up. Don't worry about the alert. Down, up left along that bush, then up right. So we can set up the dogs to go this corner. Pick up the ration. It's free. And then pick up everything. You don't need to pick up all the grenades on the IL run, but then you can't make any mistakes for Slasher Hawk. Equip everything you need. And we meet Slasher Hawk. Throw a grenade immediately. Time out the iframes. Green boomerangs go zigzag. This is a really good start. So he should be out of iframes immediately now. See? So that's the damage trick. Now I'm throwing grenades in a leading fashion. It's okay to wait a moment just to see if he's gonna move. That's fine. And if you miss grenade throws and you empty it out, just go back down. There will be grenades there. And that's stage 4. It's mostly the challenges of movement and then just getting used to how Slasher Hawk operates, but he's a fairly basic boss fight. You just have to get used to leading the grenade throws and his invincibility frames. So next time we'll be going over stage 5, the infamous box sorter puzzle, and the challenges of moving around that stage. Thanks for watching.